Hi friends, it's Lauren and my buddy Kylie Kingham at Paper Sweet Pea and I are back with another edition of Scrap with Me. And we just can't wait to share some layouts with you using the new Scrap Happy collection. This is such a fun, whimsical, colorful collection, and we both have created some new layouts for you to try. Now, just remember, if you'd like to grab our handouts, you can download and print a cover sheet for your very own notebook that shares Kylie and I's, our names, and just slip that right into your favorite notebook, and then print out our instructions from the handouts. And we both will have those handouts available on our websites. So you can find mine at craftsomejoy.com under exclusive downloads. And don't forget to pop on over to Paper Sweet Pea to grab Kylie's inspirational handouts as well. She's got a ton of them. So today we are going to do a one-page layout with a little bit of a twist. So if you stay till the end, you'll get to see a little surprise of what I've created for my own album. But I hope you grab your collection and scrap along with me. And also what I'd like to know is if you like the layout but want to use a different collection, let me know in the comments below which collection you're going to try to create this layout with. I really would love to hear what you are working on and which collections you enjoy from Creative Memories. All right, so let's jump in. Today's layout is a little different and hopefully a whole lot of fun. We are going to do a single page layout that kind of focuses on pockets. So I just want to point out in this layout, basically what I've done is create two horizontal pockets on the page that I have then tucked in photos and embellishments and my journaling and all kinds of other fun little things that can then just go in these horizontal pockets. So I thought, since we are working with the Scrap Happy collection, to just go fun and whimsical with the layout. So it's a pretty easy one to put together. So let's go over what we're going to need to get started. All right, so as I mentioned, we're going to be using the Scrap Happy 2.0 collection, and this is just such a fun, colorful, whimsical collection from Creative Memories. So I did pull sheets from both the designer paper pack, which is this one, and also the accent paper pack, which has the foiled designs on it. In addition, I did pull in to my layout some stickers from the sticker pack, embellishments. I just am in love with these embellishments and the epoxy stickers, and also the map pack. So this does not take a whole lot of product to create this layout, but there are definitely advantages to having all the different components at your fingertips that you can kind of pull and choose what you want to put in with your photographs. The other piece is a light blue cardstock base. So I decided that with all the pattern and color, I just kind of wanted a soft neutral base. So you'll notice my base sheet underneath all of these goodies is just that light blue cardstock. Okay, so now that you have the paper and products, let's also grab some photo tape. We're going to need our photo tape today. Also some foam squares, of course. And then the tools I used were the new scissor border punch. This one is such a fun one. And also the Rick Rack Border Maker cartridge. Absolutely adore this cartridge. And then in order to do the background for this sticker, I also grabbed my oval cutting pattern and the red blade, the small, and that we're going to use the inside track for cutting that. Okay, so of course we're going to need our 12-inch trimmer, our repositionable and regular adhesive, our personal trimmer. You're going to need a black pen if you want to do any journaling. And let's jump in with the layout. So as I mentioned, this layout does not take a whole lot of paper and product to create, but I do like a lot of variety. So the paper that I decided to use for my layout, and of course you can switch this up to whatever papers you have in your stash, but I decided to use this dark blue pattern paper, and so it's on the back of the white paper with the CM logos, and then some of the purple paper, and on the back of that is the product kind of pattern. So the purple paper, this is that beautiful foiled film strip paper, which I think is also just beautiful. And then also the logo paper, the colorful logo Shutterflower paper, and that has the green dots on the background. And then also the yellow pattern paper, and that has the tape runners on the background. So we're just going to need some strips and pieces of these different colored papers. So if you have leftovers, you can do that. If you want to grab a full sheet of paper, that works as well. The other thing is that light blue cardstock for the background, and so that's going to be my base for creating this page. So let's go ahead and do the cuts, and then we will start adhering it all together. So the purple and the yellow, actually, we are going to use our punches with, so let's set those aside. And then what I'm going to do is start with this blue pattern paper. Now, what we're going to be doing is cutting 1/2 inch strips. And if you notice, the full pattern here is about 1/2 inch. What I wanted was a sampling of kind of the middle of that pattern, if you can see. So what I did is I just made sure to trim this so that it wasn't at the edge of this pattern. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of clarify that. If you see when we go through this, it'll make a difference in the pattern on the layout. So we're going to cut 4 1/2 inch strips, and this will create our frame. And as you know, I love piecing frames together, so we will do a miter cut on a couple of the pieces. But as I mentioned, I've got kind of that half pattern going on here, and so I'm just going to cut another 1/2 inch strip here. Okay, so I've got one, and then I'm going to cut another right here. And you can see that it's getting part of each of those patterns on both sides. So as I kind of move it on. Now this one, I think what I'm going to do is, because I'm almost at the edge, I'm just going to cut a little strip off. And I know that's not necessary, but I do just prefer the look of having both sides of this pattern. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my 1/2 inch strips. So really, I'm kind of just going so I can see both of those kind of pointed edges. And one more strip here. So these are all 1/2 inch strips on the dark blue paper. Okay, perfect. So now we've got that, and you can see I even still have more scraps left for this paper. So what I want to do is take 2 of these strips then, and we're going to miter the edges so we can create our frame. And this is a little bit of a shortcut. Before I used to miter all the edges, but now I know all I really need to do is miter cut 2 of the edges, and it's good to go to create a frame. So we're going to put, I like you cutting both of them together, so I just line those up, put it on the 45-degree line, and then I'm going to bring that top point to my cutting line. Okay, I'm going to hold that down. And what I like to do is put my blade right where that paper is and kind of just press down and then create that cut. And usually you get a perfect little miter cut on something so thin. Okay, so there's that one edge. Now what I want to do is flip my paper over to the other edge, and we're going to do that same cut, but we want both of those diagonals to be going towards the inside. So now I'm going to do the same thing, bring those papers up, keep it on that 45-degree line, and have the point up at the top. And if you're more comfortable cutting each strip separately, go ahead and do that. And again, I've got that beautiful miter cut. So my paper looks like that with the 2 points for each of those papers on the top and then the angle in on the bottom. All right, so those are ready to create our frame. Our next cut is going to be our shutter flower paper with all the colors in it. And this is a simple cut. We just need 2 1-inch strips of this paper. So there's one and one more. Okay, we're going to set those aside. And then our last paper to create some cuts with is our film strip paper. Now on this, I decided not to measure because what I wanted was 2 full rows of film strips on both sides of my border for the pocket. So I'm just going to count 4 rows of the film strips and then cut right in between those next 2 rows. So I'm going to line that up on my trimmer, make sure I'm just in between, and then cut that apart. So I have 4 rows of film strips. So if you were going to measure this strip, if you wanted to use a different type of paper, this is about 2 3/4 inches wide. All right, so let's cut our next strip. Again, doing the same thing, cutting 4 strips in and then right in between the next 2 film strips. All right, so we need 2 strips of those. We can set that paper aside and our trimmer for now. And next what we want to do is get our tools ready. So let's first start with our scissors border punch. And I wanted this to be kind of a color that really popped on the layout. So I love the purple. The purple just works really well with the pattern of this punch. And sometimes I realize that you do have to kind of play around with patterns and punches and see what goes well together. So this one, like I mentioned, it's a good rich color and the pattern is small because this is kind of an intricate pattern of a punch. So I thought it worked very well for this punch. Okay, so let's just go ahead and create this border, and we're going to need to do this 2 times. All right, so we have our 2 rows of scissors, and the rest of this is also just extra. And now we're going to move on to our border maker system and the yellow paper. Okay, so again, with this border cartridge, I wanted something that was really going to pop against all the patterns that we're using in these papers. So I decided to use the bright yellow, and I'm going to pop in the Rick Rack Chain border cartridge. As I mentioned, this really is becoming a favorite because when you punch it, you actually get 2 strips ready to go. And it's just, these are just so fun to use. All right, so we've got 2 strips, and then we're going to need to just do that 1 more time. So we're going to end up with 4 Rick Rack pieces. So I'm scooting my paper over. This is the border maker system from Creative Memories, one of my absolute favorite tools. All right, and we can set those aside. And now we have kind of all of our strips ready to go for the layout. So the first thing I want to do is actually build our pockets, and then we're going to adhere them to the page, and then we're going to put the frame on last. So in order to build our pockets, our horizontal pocket strips, we're just going to layer all these different pieces that we've created. So go ahead and grab your adhesive, and we're going to start with the shutter flower 1-inch strip that we cut. So this is just going to go right in between the outer two film strips. Okay, so pop that right in there. You can see it just fits right over the two middle strips. We're going to do the same thing with the second pocket. Add that strip. Right in the center. So now we have our two strips. Now we're going to add our rickrack borders. And if you line both of these strips up, you can see that they kind of fit right together. And if you hold them like that, you can run your repositionable adhesive just kind of down the center, just like that. And you basically get adhesive on two strips for the price of one. So you might have to kind of pull it apart, but that's an easy and quick way to get your adhesive, repositionable adhesive, on the back of these strips. So next we're just going to line the rickrack right at the edge of our strip. So I'm going to give you kind of a close-up look at exactly where I'm putting this down. Okay, so if you can see, I put it just at that intersection. So basically right where the papers come together, I'm putting the center of the rickrack strip right there. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing for the top. And just line that right up on the edge of where those two papers come together. Okay, and we need a little more adhesive. I can see right there on the end. All right, once we have our centerpiece done, you can see, oh, that's really fun. You get to see all the little shutter flowers in between the rickrack. But I just wanted one more layer. So we are going to add those purple scissors to the top of the shutter flower and the rickrack. So we're just going to kind of position it right there in the center and just have all these fun layers of color. So I'm just adding a little adhesive to some of those scissors in the center, and then we're going to add that right to the top. Okay, so that's one of our horizontal pockets. We're going to do the same thing with the rickrack and the scissors to the other pocket. All right, now that we have our two borders ready to go, these would make actually really cute borders if you just wanted to add them to your page as a border instead of a pocket. But I am going to show you how to use this as a pocket. So we're going to flip both of these over to the back side and use one of my favorite adhesives whenever you are building pockets or kind of doing different kind of work to your pages, and that's the CM photo tape. So I just want to make sure that you know this stuff is super sticky, so you need to be sure where it's going to go before you peel the backing off. So because these are pockets, I am already going to use a good amount of tape So I'm going to go all along the bottom. Now on the photo tape, what you'll realize is that the tape is kind of loaded on one side of the strip, and then the other side doesn't have the tape. So it's kind of where you can grab it and pull. So you can just feel which side is sticky, and that is going to go on the very edge of my pocket. So I'm just going to take that and lay that down and then just press it in. Okay, and now I'm going to do 2 smaller strips for the sides. Same idea. Find that sticky piece, put it on the edge. And one more over here. And I'm just guesstimating how long this is. You can always trim it, and also use your scissors to get the correct dimensions. So basically that's what we're doing, is we're just adding the tape to the outside edges just to create that long horizontal pocket. Now I'm going to leave the backing on this until we're ready to build the page, but we're going to go ahead and do the tape to the other horizontal pocket as well. Okay. So now we have our pockets set up and ready to go. Let's go ahead and bring our base back in for the layout, the light blue cardstock. And before we do anything else, what I want to do is start getting our frame set in place. So I'm going to take the 2 strips that don't have the miter cut edges and actually adhere them to the top and the bottom of the layout. Okay, so I've just added a little bit of adhesive to the top so we can add that top piece on. And then I'm just going to flip this over and add a little bit of adhesive here so we can add that to the bottom of this layout. All right. So see how it's just fun seeing the different parts of that pattern in these little strips. So, okay, now let's add our pocket. So the first pocket we're going to add is the one here on the bottom, and it's going to line up just directly on top of the strip we just placed. So now we can go ahead and take off the backing paper, and just remember, super sticky now, super sticky. Okay, so let's grab that and carefully place that just above the strip we just put down. And you can see once you put that down, it is on there. Like, you have a pocket now. It is adhered to the edges, and you can basically do anything, tucking anything into that pocket that you'd like. All right, now the second strip, we're going to use our mat and place it. So let's get that lined up correctly. And we're going to place it on the 6-inch, the bottom on the 6-inch mark. So I'm going to just look at my mat on both the right and the left side where it says 6 inches, and just make sure that I have that lined up evenly across. Again, remove all the adhesive from my pocket. And let's go ahead and put that down. And if you get a little extra, just tuck it under or use your scissors to snip that off. Okay, so I've got 6 inches right here. And then I'm going to make sure I target 6 inches over here. And then go ahead and put that second pocket in place on your page. Okay, now we've got the finishing touches, which is our frame with the miter cuts. So I'm just going to add the adhesive, and we're going to lay that on top of our pockets. So let's go ahead, grab the adhesive. And on this one, you do want to make sure you get adhesive all the way down into that little corner, that little sharp point, just so that it sticks well to your page. And we're going to put that just right over all the edges, and that creates a super simple, fast, easy frame. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And then again, just make sure you get some adhesive on those corners. Set that in place. This is why I love using repositionable, if you need to kind of move it so that it gets right in the correct location. It's so easy to do that. All the way down. Okay, so voila, that is our base page for this layout. And we've got these two fun pockets for our page that now we can just go to town and create all kinds of fun little tuck-in features for the layout. And before I show you just the different pieces that I used in order to kind of tuck all these different pieces in my pockets, I do want to add one little embellishment detail, and that's this kind of circle, a cluster down here in the bottom left corner. So you can also decide where this is going to be, if this is going to be a right-hand page or a left-hand page, or you can see this will make also a beautiful two-page spread. If you kind of just wanted to continue and do two of these, this would make a really nice two-page layout. So in order to create this cluster, I just wanted to mention what I used for the backing for this sticker. And what I did is I went into the Scrap Happy matte pack, and what I love about this matte pack is it has so many different colors on the backs of some of these cards. And I have a little album that I've used many of these cards for, but I loved this orange grid. So in order to create the backing for the sticker, I just used the oval cutting pattern, the red blade, and just kind of set that right inside here, cut the oval, and then that made a beautiful background for my Oh Happy Day sticker. And then I just layered some other stickers right here in this cluster. So what I would recommend, if you like this, you could use the orange grid background if you like those colors together. But also just remember to look at the different stickers. So if you wanted to use a different word sticker, maybe you wanted to use this purple one, then grab your circle pattern and find the size that works to create a background for your circle. So some of these are sized definitely for using with our custom cutting system, or as we know, the new square or circle maker. Those also work perfectly with some of these stickers. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out. And the rest is really up to you, how you want to pull in the embellishments and your photos to create and finish off your layout. And I just have to say, the fun part with this layout is that it could really work with whatever photos, whatever size photos or embellishment boxes and journal boxes that you have. So on this one, I decided to use a journal card that had lines on it, and then I just added a little tag on here. So these are going to go in 12 by 12 pocket pages. So if I did want to pull that out the top, I could just grab that shutter flower embellishment and just pull that right out the top if I wanted to read the rest. I also have a little Scrappy Bear tucked in here. I have some other little pieces of memorabilia and embellishments that came from the Scrap Happy pack. I did put this little camera up on a foam square. So you can just kind of play around with the embellishments and mats and different colors and patterns that you like in order to kind of finish off your layout. And using the pockets is just kind of a fun way to add a little whimsy and fun to your collection. Now, just as a finishing touch, what I wanted to do was share the page that I created to go next to this page we created together today. So as you may know, in January, I was in Minnesota for the Dream Team weekend, and it was so much fun. And one of the gifts they gave us was this fun little paper album. Now, there are definitely some different paper albums that are already available, but I kind of wanted to share what I decided to do in order to document this trip. I loved the little paper album size, and this was custom printed for us. But when I started printing all my photos in a 2x3 size, I loved it. And it worked so perfectly for this little album. Now, I still have some journaling to do, but I did kind of want to do a quick little flip through and show you how fast and easy this album came together, especially using the 2x3 size photos. And that also works really perfectly with the mats from the Scrap Happy collection. And you can see this is where I pulled in a lot of other embellishments and stickers from this really fun collection. So I used 2x3 peekaboo pockets in here, along with just adhering the photos directly down to the pages. But it made it so fun and quick to document this whole trip. As I mentioned, I still have some more journaling to do, but what a fun way to add kind of a little memory book. And what I loved about this idea was also that I could take this, like if I wanted to meet a friend and say, oh, hey, let me just share some highlights from my trip to Minnesota. I could just grab this little mini paper album out of my album and bring it with me. You just tuck it in my purse. So what I ended up doing to create this complimentary page is I did the same base layout in the light blue, and again, the same mitered frame. And then I just took matching paper and put it across the top because I love these words. I think they're just so much fun, and the color. And then I ended up sliding that in the 12x12 pocket. So this is just a 12x12 pocket page. And then you might notice right there, I just ended up slicing through the middle of that page. And I measured and just used an X-Acto knife with a cutting mat inside and just made that cut in there. So what I can do now is just tuck this little paper album right inside, and it's going to go in my album as the complimentary page to my other little pocket page. Now, do you see the pocket theme going on here? So I just wanted to share that fun little tip at the end of this video, just in case you've ever done a little paper album and kind of wondered, well, where can I store that? I thought, well, why not just store it right in our album? I haven't tested the longevity of using the pocket page with the little slice in it. I know I probably might need to reinforce these edges at some point, but I can give you an update after a little while and see how that works. But for now, it's working really well. So I'm just going to slide this right into my 2023 album, and I'll be ready to scrap the back of this page for my next event. So I hope you enjoyed just playing with the new Scrap Happy collection, having some fun looking at the colors and the layers and just a different whimsical kind of layout. And if you haven't already taken a moment, I would truly appreciate if you give this video a thumbs up. That just really helps all of us content creators here on YouTube. And it's just a huge hug right back for bringing you this content. I also want to encourage you to hop on over and check out Kylie's video if you haven't already at Paper Sweet Pea, and she has a fabulous layout for you using this beautiful Scrap Happy collection and the laser pack of papers that goes along with this. So you need to check her layout out. You can find her right here on YouTube, and I will also have all of her shopping, social, and media links in the description of this video. Thank you so much again for joining us, and until next time, I hope you take time to craft some joy. We'll see you again soon. Bye for now.